Doing?
Okay.
I'm making the most of the day. Yeah, I was looking for my phone today. I couldn't find it.
Oh,
it was under the car seat. I looked for the thing from yesterday. So when I saw it today, I said, "Thank you, Lord, that I've seen my phone. So at least life will be good." So what you couldn't see yesterday, you see it today. It was under the car seat, Charlie. I searched, I called, and nothing.
Oh, while it had gone off.
It was on like maybe 15% to go off.
Okay.
So I didn't want to call it too much so that it would get angry and go off. So I called it small. It wouldn't mind it, but I just went to sleep. But I found it. So please, if you send me a message yesterday and I didn't reply,
it's okay.
It's because I couldn't find the phone. It was under the car seat.
We'll get back to you today.
Yeah, the part of the car seat you can't put your hand inside. Charlie, funny things happen to us. Oh, your phone, you can't find it.
No, it's a slip out of your
So what is Charlie? Sunday, I was looking for my key. I looked for the key. Later, the key was in my hand. Charlie, sometimes just thank God that you can see clearly. That
I was once walking about the house, claiming that I couldn't find my glasses.
You were wearing.
I was up and down.
And you can even. Why is this? Why is the glasses?
So I went to ask my brother, "Have you seen my glasses?" He looked at me and just started shaking.
but
it's right there,
Charlie. But anyway, so let's get into the headlines. So what are the papers saying this morning?
Well, the Daily Graphic says lump sum differences. Government to pay retirees. Pensioners from January to December 2020 are beneficiaries. Insolvent savings and loans companies, 6.39 billion cedis in terms of claims have been paid, 110 million outstanding. The education minister says we've initiated 1,011 SHS projects since 2017. And Dr. Elsie Kaufman is Daily Graphics guest editor today.
It's a big woman, Charlie.
Now, if you go to the Ghanaian Times, the good news for retirees is also here. Government to pay all 2020 retirees arrears. Affected pensioners to receive all outstanding monies of lump sum payments. This is according to the president. Failure to use gift mist for budgeting. Government to deal with MMDCEs. 9 model senior high schools to be established. This is the education minister. And MPs to get police bodyguards. Tira minister.
The Daily Guard says MPP sacks MP. Right to speaker. 2 Wyoming mansions sold. SC rejects land. Bodyguard for MPs and widow replaces slain MP. Plus president opens refurbished TUC hall.
Same MP who is on the front page of the Daily Guide is also on the front page of the Chronicle. NPP MP loses seats in Parliament for going independent. Government creates 34,416 new seats in basic schools. 1 MP, 1 police, but the large mass of Ghanaians left to defend themselves. And will pay past credits for public sector workers. President speaking.
The Daily Statesman says, let's commit to peaceful elections. President urges political actors. Presidency not a remedial class to correct mistakes.
I guess who said that? Definitely.
Baumia Jabs Mahama. MPP outlines superior transport sector policies and 1,011 SHS infrastructure projects initiated since 2017.
The 1,011 projects are also on the front page of the Finder. NPP initiates 1,011 senior high school infrastructure projects. This is the minister. NPP notifies Speaker to sack Fomena MP for going independent. John Godu's photo is on the front page. Ghana establishes commission to demarcate land and maritime boundaries. Pension disparities resolved. Government will absorb such shortfall in pension lump sum. This is the president. And the presidency is not a remedial class for correction of mistakes, Dr. Baumia tells Mahama.
The Herald says Ghana's commander-in-chief shifts insecurity blame onto IGP. Government prioritizing transport sector department of GRA in another state capture. EU ambassador discredits foreign minister's claims on closure of Ghana's bank accounts in Belgium. And Ivorian opposition parties gang up against Akufo-Addo's friend.
Wow.
Now, the new crusading guide, insecurity brews at Akwamun Sawam. This is over land matters. Let's campaign on issues, not insults. George Anda. Kwawun Kwetiag, please get barracks. And Baumia Knox Mahama says presidency, not remedial class to correct mistakes.
He's still in Ashanti region, I guess.
Yeah. The BNFT says AFTA can lift 100 million out of poverty in Africa. That's according to a World Bank report. on the telecoms or in the telecom sector, NCA to roll out SMP guidelines for telcos as MTN withdraws Supreme Court case, New Energy Lab to reduce bill complaints by 50%, and ASAP reiterates calls to review idle block contract, says delay denies state of much needed revenue.
Now, the new publisher, Woyome, begs for houses, offers land worth $15.5 million in exchange. 200 armed cops for MPs. Government provides security after MP murder. And this story, wife replaces murdered Infanteman MP.
There are conflicting reports there.
There are conflicting
reports. For example, if you come to citynewsroom.com, the lead story, we are yet to decide on replacement for late Infanteman MP, according to the MPP. That's what we know. Other stories, Minister welcomes improved security for MPs. NBSSI staff in Tamale chased out by alleged MPP youth group. And Supreme Court to hear Kennedy Japan's contempt case today. Other stories, in Ashanti region, residents lament high cost of rent as housing deficit worsens. Also, government recalls vehicles donated to NCC for COVID-19 sensitization. Meanwhile, the IGP is assuring the nation of adequate security. And Nigerians in Ghana hold end SARS protest at the High Commission. If you go to myjournalline.com, wife of murdered as an Infanteman MP to succeed him as parliamentary candidate. So whilst we are saying the MPP say they are yet to decide, Journalline is saying that they say they've chosen her. Also, UCC authorities probe for culprits of alleged campus robbery prank. Have land worth $15.5 million. Woyome begs Supreme Court to set aside government purchase of his properties. And Infanteman shooting. We want concrete action, not irrelevant assurance. MP for Sagnarigo. Star FM lead story. Akosombo textiles workers issue death threats over pay cuts. Also, Akufo-Addo has eradicated cholera. This is sanitation minister. Meanwhile, slain Infanteman MP to be replaced by his widow is also on this website. And 200 police officers deployed to protect members of Parliament. If you go to the Ghana News Agency, MPs to get police bodyguards. Also, President Akufo-Addo inaugurates reconstituted board of Ghana Boundary Commission, and government will absorb shortfall in pension lump sum. These are the headlines from the Ghana News Agency. So let's start with you guys. What's the graphic leading with today?
Well, the graphic is talking about lump sum differences.
Yes.
Remember, in the last few weeks, this issue has popped up. And so the president, according to Donald Atudapatem, who wrote the story, the president has assured public sector workers retiring this year that the government will pay the difference in lump sum payments between beneficiaries of PNDC Law 247 and those of Act 766.
Nice.
He said the difference would be paid through SNIT, and added that a committee would be set up to supervise the implementation of the decision. The president made this disclosure when he inaugurated the refurbished Trades Union Congress Hall in Accra yesterday. Originally constructed during the First Republic, the building now has 175 rooms, 3 conference rooms, a clinic, a bank, a post office, a canteen, and a dedicated ECG transformer. Government provided 12.7 million cedis as its contribution to the total cost of refurbishment.
Fantastic news.
Same story is here in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times. So retirees are going to get their monies paid to them. And the president, after saying this at the TUC event, also got the TUC to thank him for listening to
let's talk about the MPs. We understand 200 police personnel deployed to guard MPs. That's a big story.
And the Chronicle captures it as 1 MP, 1 police. Answer says, though the police administration has been crying for numbers to protect the whole Ghana, the Minister for the Interior, Mr. Ambrose Derry, has indicated that as many as 200 police personnel will be deployed to protect members of Parliament till the end of the year. He indicated that these personnel will be attached to MPs as bodyguards. The minister made this known when he was invited to Parliament yesterday to brief them on measures being put in place to protect them, especially as elections are approaching.
Okay.
The invitation was as a result of recent happenings in the country, which had led to the murder of an MP. And the minister said that the ideal situation should have been the provision of 800 security personnel to guard the MPs day and night. But that will be looked at after the end of the year.
Well, let's get to page 3 of the Daily Guide. Let's stay with MPs because the slain MP may have a replacement. Well, according to the Daily Guide, there is a replacement. Ophelia Hayford is the one that reportedly the MPP has settled on. She's the wife of the Member of Parliament for Infanteman who was killed last week. Mrs. Hayford is an officer in the Ghana Police Service with the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police, and there are reports that she has already tendered in her resignation in order to take up the political offer. On Monday, the party sent a letter to the EC to invoke Section 13 4 of CI 127 to allow a 10-day extension of the nomination period within which the party will file Mrs. Hayford's name.
Our story on Citi News says the MPP in Infanteman constituency has denied the reports that Madam Ophelia Hayford, wife of the slain MP, has been selected to represent the party in 2020 parliamentary elections. The party said although there is grassroots support for her, no official decision has been taken on who will replace the legislator yet at the upcoming poll. Okay. First Vice Chairman of the party, Yao Bechinyakon, says the party executives are making consultations and will soon decide on who will lead the party after the 1-week celebration of the late MP. Here's a quote: "It's not true. Nothing like that has come out. When the president came here yesterday, the grassroots of the party were chanting, 'No wife, no vote,' but the party has not decided yet on who is going to replace the MP. We are still doing consultations. I can tell the public to wait until Thursday, then we will know the person endorsed to replace Honorable Kwanzaa Hayford," he said.
Now, on NPP and MPs, NPP notified Speaker to sack Formina MP for going independent. Now, the story says the New Patriotic Party has notified the Speaker of Parliament that the MP for the Formina constituency in the Ashanti region, Andrew Amwakon-Siama, has filed to contest as an independent candidate and must therefore vacate his seat in consonance with the 1992 Constitution. Yeah. Wow. He was elected to Parliament on the ticket of the NPP. Now, Article 97, Clause 1G of the Constitution states that a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to Parliament to join another party or seek to remain in Parliament as an independent member.
Wow, this is Formina. So he lost the primaries and he decided to go independent.
He went to court actually. There were issues over the voter album. He wasn't happy with it. He went to court, lost the court case, and decided to go independent.
This is quite unprecedented for the party to write to the Speaker to say we are withdrawing him. This is a serious move. Right. Now let's continue with campaign politics. So Bawumia is in Ashanti region, and he says that the presidency is not what
a remedial
class to come and do round 2.
Yes.
Let's get into some of those stories as we do a quick.
The Finder has the story
election wrap.
And I quote what Dr. Bawumia said. He says, "The presidency is not remedial classes for correction of mistakes. It is a place for serious work and serious business." That's what he said.
Where was he speaking?
It's not captured.
Well, he's in Ashanti region because the stories I have, for example, there's a place he went to where the Asante Hima endorsed him and basically says you will go far. This story
yesterday was actually at a fiscal to inaugurate a new classroom block. That is a Fijase Senior High School. He streamed it on his page on Facebook.
Okay, so the story says the Queen Mother of Asante Kingdom, Nana Amma Kunidu Yadom III, has blessed Vice President Dr. Bawumia and the government of MPP with a special personal benedictory prayer. This happened when the Vice President paid a courtesy call on the Queen Mother prior to his touring of the region on Sunday. In a solemn manner, the Queen Mother prayed for peace and calm during the election and asked the blessings of God upon the life of the Vice President and his entourage.
Well, Dr. Bawumia's remedial class comments were in an interview with Ash FM in Kumasi. So you talk about campaign stories.
Yes.
And on page 16 of the Daily Graphic, the Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, says there have been 1,011 infrastructural projects initiatives in SHSs across the country since 2017. He explained that 492 of the projects had been completed, with the rest at various stages of completion. And he revealed this when he took his turn to highlight government's educational infrastructure drive at the National Building Update at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences in Accra yesterday.
Now, I'll take you to Tema. There's an interesting story on health. International Maritime Hospital begins cancer treatment.
Wow.
Remember this facility?
It's a big one.
Yes. Now, the International Maritime Hospital has launched its oncology services, which is expected to open up opportunities for improved cancer treatment in Ghana. Speaking at the launch, Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority said his outfit is, as part of its vision to improve the health needs of its staff and communities where the port operates, decided to build hospitals in both Tema and Takoradi metropolis. This is important because it was one of the hospitals we were concerned about as well when it was opened and wasn't fully operationalized.
Now, let me give you a controversial story. Government recalls vehicles donated to NCCU for COVID-19 sensitization. This story is quite serious. The National Commission for Civic Education says the government has ordered the commission to return 25 of its 50 vehicles meant for COVID-19 safety campaign. The commission in June this year received 50 Isuzu vehicles from government to support its public education campaign from COVID-19. Speaking to journalists on the pandemic and matters arising, chairperson of the NCC, Josephine Nkrumah, said, quote, the reason that was assigned to this directive was that the cars were needed for other urgent national assignments, unquote. There are other activities which are competing with what we're doing, she noted. These constraints for sensitization notwithstanding, Ms. Nkrumah assured that the commission would continue to do the best we can given the logistics we have. And so that's the main story coming in there.
There are some adverts in the Ghanaian Times today. Various assemblies advertising contracts for companies to bid.
For what?
Schools,
building
roads,
and things.
Pothole patching.
Really?
Traffic.
Which assemblies are these?
Kole Klote Municipal Assembly. This
This
is
one.
assembly.
Okay.
Construction of 2-story community library at Osu. Procurement of 2 number 15 sister minibus. Pothole patching and sectional repairs of selected roads within Kole Klote. Resealing of selected roads within Kole Klote. Traffic and road safety management and works of selected roads.
So these are all Accra people.
Yes, graveling and spot improvement of selected roads within Kole Klote. Now, if you go to the other regions, there are all sorts of assemblies advertising
all these kinds of things. Well, I mean, Ashanti region and the residents are lamenting high cost of rent as housing deficit worsens. Story by Edward Opomafo says the provision of affordable housing for most Ghanaians still remains a puzzle as successive governments have been struggling to solve. In the Ashanti region, those who appear to be adversely affected are persons living within the greater Kumasi metropolis and its surrounding districts due to the high cost of rent. Residents lament that an affordable housing project which has been recently completed by the government and SNIT at Asakore Mampong to address the housing deficit in Ashanti, where they expected it to be affordable, has turned out to be too expensive for the ordinary people in the area to afford. What government has to do to help Ghanaians is that since many people have not been able to acquire their own homes and there are high rent charges, there should be measures in place to make affordable housing projects affordable. This is Ibrahim Anyas, a resident, lamented. Now we're told that the Asokore Mampong housing project is being given out at 98,000 cedis per apartment. It's very expensive for ordinary people to acquire. People who would be in the position to afford would be those from abroad or very affluent persons. Such persons too would rather use the amount to acquire land somewhere and put up a structure. So you get a point. 98,000. Those who want it can afford. Those who can afford say, why should I use 98,000 to afford some apartment? Let me go and buy land at Abrepo somewhere and build a house. This is what the story came up with, and essentially says that the situation for the housing deficit in Ashanti is not good. Residents are saying government should make the affordable housing projects affordable. And they are giving, for example, a 688 2-bedroom flats, 120 standard 1-bedroom. These are the buildings that were to have been used to solve the problem, but those who need it say they can't afford it. It's a full report. You can read it on citinewsroom.com.
Okay, so Ningo Pram Pram is advertising contracts for schools. If you just search
it's advertising contract for what?
Schools. They are going to build new. Achumanwa Bieja. They want to construction of district police headquarters, construction of isolation centers at Sofia, construction of DC's residence at Barakese, Kwabere East, construction of 40-bed male and female ward at Kenyase Health Center.
Yeah, but that's what they're supposed to do, right? They advertise it open tender, so you go in, and I'm sure. I mean, if you fit the bill, you can get the job. If you have the money.
Assembly, Nanumba South, Busa South, Wasa East, Oforikro.
Okay.
More.
All right, Nathan.
If you go to the front page of the BNFT, it says new energy lab to reduce bill complaints by 50%. That's according to the PRC.
Nice one.
The PRC is optimistic that its newly inaugurated energy laboratory system, set up to monitor operations of electric utility companies, will reduce consumer complaints by about 50%. According to the PRC, the lab will enable it to improve its monitoring of quality of service and also assess the integrity of meters used by the regulated electric utility.
Akosombo Textiles workers issued death threats over pay cut. Story on Star News. Some disgruntled workers of the Akosombo Textiles industry, formerly known as ATL, have issued death threats to the management and union leaders. They are angry about what they describe as the dwindling fortunes of the company, contrary to the circulation of a video suggesting that the company is back on its feet since government took over management from Chinese investors 2 years ago. The workers are demanding payment of their September salaries, 2019 annual bonus in both cash and cloth, and implementation of a negotiated pay rise of 6% for last year. They are also agitating for 5% pay cut by management in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, which they said is unjustified and worsening their plight.
Now, the publisher says Woyome begs for houses.
Yeah.
And the story says businessman Alfred Woyome yesterday begged the Supreme Court to set aside the government's purchase of some properties belonging to him. They view that he owns land worth $15.5 million, which was far in excess of the debt he owes the state. And he said the land is readily available for use in the Volta region, and that the Supreme Court should help him.
And with the payment story, I think you read a story about some money paid to some people.
Yes. So this on page 16 of the Daily Graphic says out of 6.5 billion cedis in deposit claims validated by the receiver of the failed specialized deposit-taking institutions, 6.39 billion has been paid in cash to depositors. That's according to the second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Mrs. Elsie Ado Awaji. With that payment, she said, there was now an outstanding amount of 110 million cedis being claims of related parties of the defunct institutions who played active roles in their management and control.
Fantastic stuff, Nathan. Kwao Kojo Boateng newspaper review coming up next. City Business News. Stay with us.